In this video, we're going to look at solving equations that involve the distributive property. Again, the distributive property means that if we have some number, say 4, and then inside parentheses, we have something like x plus 3, we're multiplying the 4 times that, so we're distributing to get 4x plus 12. So an example would be like this problem here. 3 times in parentheses x minus 4 equals 18. First thing I want to do is get rid of this set of parentheses. And to do that, I'm going to use my distributive property. Multiply the 3 times both of these to give me 3x minus 12 equals 18. Once I have it in this form, now it's just a normal equation to solve. I'm going to move the 12 by adding 12 to both sides. So I have 3x equals 30. And then to get x by itself, I need to divide by 3, giving me a giant 1 here, and x equals 10. Looking at a slightly more complex problem, we have this one here. We now have parentheses on both sides. When I look at this part and I want to get rid of the parentheses here, I'm going to distribute and get 4x plus 8 equals. Now on this part, on the right side of the equals, I need to make sure I know what I'm distributing. And in this case, I'm distributing a positive 5. I also need to do the multiplication here before I do any addition. So I'm distributing before I add the 3. So I'm going to have a 3 plus, distribute the 5 to the x, and distribute the 5 to the negative 1. So I get plus a negative 5, which you could also write here as minus 5. Either way works. Next thing I'm going to do is on the right side. I always want to think about combining like terms if I can. So on the right side of my equal symbol, I'm going to end up getting 5x, and 3 in the negative 5 will give me a negative 2. I still have 4x plus 8 on the other side. Now I want to get my x's to the same side, so I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. You could also subtract the 5x, but this will now keep a positive 1x on the right. So now I have 8 on the left. That makes 0. 5x and negative 4x is negative, or is positive 1x, and then I have a minus 2 from right there. Now to get x by itself, I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and x equals 10. One last example. Again, we need to make sure that we are distributing and figuring out what we need to distribute. In this case, we are distributing a negative 3. So I have 6, and then negative 3 times 2x is a negative 6x. Negative 3 times a positive 1 will be negative 3 equals 4x minus 7. Once I've done that, you can tell that it's fairly similar to the last problem, where I'm going to now want to combine like terms, get the x's to the same side, get the numbers to the other side, and solve for x. So combining like terms, negative 6x and 6 and negative 3 will be a positive 3. I'm going to now add 6x to both sides, giving me a positive 10x minus 7 on the right. That makes a 0, so I have 3 on the left. Adding 7 to both sides gives me 10 equals 10x. And now when I divide by 10 to get x by itself, I get x equals 1.